Hi, friends. Thanks for joining us. Like, leave a comment, and do us a favor and smash that subscribe button. We can't thank you all enough for supporting us. Benny, where can they find us on social media?
Yeah, you can find us, Ray Benny Sports. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Check us out also on Reddit and Discord, and leave us a rating on your favorite podcast provider.
Yeah, we're going to get into some Winnipeg Jets talk in a second. It's been a rough time for the Jets fans. Wow, what a change of temperature in the room when they lose one. When that long streak is over, it's like, oh my gosh. But we'll get into that soon. Well, we got a little bit of NFL talk in our quick shots, but let's start off with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Big trade for the Bombers since we last met, kind of. Did we talk about it last week? We talked about it last week. Or was it just soon after?
I feel like it was after, like the next day or something like that.
Any which way, a few days old, this news, Drew Brown, we'll get our bearings. Just chill. Schoen, his roommate, his best bud. Are you reading into that much? And if so, if Schoen would be gone to Ottawa, which one receiver would you target?
Yeah, I don't know. Depends. I mean, reading into it too much, yeah, obviously Drew Brown would love to probably have Dalton Schoen there, but I think Dalton Schoen's going to go where the best situation for him, no matter what, and no matter who's there, right? Because he's been in Winnipeg, and him and Collaros have clicked quite a bit, and probably clicked more so, than when Drew Brown came into games, right? So I don't think roommates is going to factor into that, but yeah, the money will. Ottawa just signed Dominic Rhymes too for just under 200, right?
Yeah.
So you're not getting Dalton Schoen for under 200 or that salary, right? So
No.
Are they willing to pay another receiver north of 200, or will another team swoop in and pay him more, right? So
Ackland's would make a good chunk of change in Ottawa, isn't he?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So, actually, I didn't even think of him. So yeah, so you got him there too. So
and Behar is not cheap either.
No. So
yeah, maybe that's not even an option.
No, it may not be. Like looking at stuff like Toronto just traded Gittins away, and I know he was Canadian and all that, but maybe there's an opening there because I was looking through there. They've got Coxie is still a free agent as well.
Yeah.
So there may be an option there as well, kind of thing. And there's teams. Hamilton, Tim White's still a free agent, right? He hasn't signed back in Hamilton.
No.
So
Edmonton let go of Dunbar.
Yeah, they got Gittins. They got rid of Dunbar. Arsenault's still a free agent, but I guess they still have what's his name, Eugene Lewis, right? So
yes, absolutely.
So they might be filled on their high priced wide receivers already, right? So
there's going to be some receiver movement. So if the Bombers do lose Schoen, knock on wood, they don't, because like you said, him and Collaros have some crazy connection going, some crazy chemistry, and that's no slight to Kenny Lawler. Folks on my ass because I like Schoen, a number one receiver. That's no slight to Lawler. That's just how good those two are. But any which way, I'm babbling on. Benny, if you had to choose someone to replace in free agency, Schoen, who would you target?
I'm probably going cheaper at this position or this spot if Dalton Schoen is not signed, right? Because you already got Dembski, you got Wolitarsky, you got Lawler. I'd probably bring back Rashid Bailey. Really, I mean, if you can bring him in for, maybe he wants to get paid this year. He took a bit of a pay cut last year to stick with the Bombers, so maybe he wants to get paid a bit more. But Bailey would be at the top of the list for me. He knows the Bombers. The Bombers know him. That guy blocks like it's nobody's business. He is so unselfish out there. So yeah, I would definitely take a look at bringing him back because other guys like we talked about, Bain, Tim White, those guys are going to be too expensive for the Bombers unless they can snag him for a great deal.
Keeping it in-house. I'm going to go with Dion Brissett, a Canadian from Toronto, drafted in the first round, second overall by the Argos, but didn't get to play that first year because, of course, the canceled COVID season. He's had a good couple developmental years, and last year he did some kickoffs, averaged over 20 yards, and he got over 500 yards receiving. I think he's the next dynamic playmaking Canadian receiver, and if you can get him on your roster, you'll get him for a cheaper price than Dalton Schoen for sure.
Oh yeah,
you have to pay a little more, but that might free up a starter somewhere else on the offense or defense that you can bring in an import or an American, as they call it nowadays. So yeah, I like Canadian receivers. Why not another one? You'd have Wolitarsky, you'd have Dembski, and you'd have Brissett.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see what they do, obviously, but they're obviously in win now mode, right? Still, like, do you bring in a new guy with not as much experience, or do you look even at signing a veteran guy that can come in and play right away and has had success already in the league? but at a minimum salary, not a minimum salary, but a lower salary than some of these other guys would take. Yeah, be a good move. I mean, you obviously got to rebuild this wide receiver core, right? Dembski's not young anymore. Lawler's getting up there too. Wolotarski, maybe Wolotarski takes on a bigger role this year.
Yeah.
Like he's always that guy that seems to be there in the clutch, but he's never the guy that's putting up 100 yards a game or anything like that, right? So, yeah, be fun to watch. It's coming up a couple weeks from free agency.
Well, Drew Wolotarski did sign. And like you said, he's just a guy who's been there in the clutch, and he seems to score a lot of touchdowns in Montreal from my eye test.
Yeah.
I always hear him either on the radio or see him on TV scoring touchdowns in Montreal. And I hate folks online going about this fake Canadian garbage. He qualifies by CFL rules to be a national. So just shut up about it already. Like, still hearing these people complain about, oh, they have the whatchamacallit, the ratio. It's like, give me a break. Are you telling me people actually tune out of the league because they know about the ratio?
Yeah.
Sorry, I went off topic there a little bit. It just pisses me off. People still complaining about the ratio and they're making it just.
The CFL, Canadian Football League, the ratio is needed. Good move.
Exactly.
Good move by the Bombers to bring Wolotarski back. He knows the offense. And like we've said, he's a clutch guy. He's the guy that they seem to go to in those situations when they need a big player, a big catch. So I like it. And like I said, maybe he gets a little bit more playing time or more yardage if Dalton Schoen moves on and if Rasheed Bailey also moves on. So I'm excited to see what this guy can do.
He's like a more athletic version of Jamie Stoddard.
Yeah. Good old Jamie Stoddard. Yeah.
That guy was awesome.
Yeah.
He's also available in the clutch when you needed a first down.
Yeah.
Quiet all game.
Big dude.
You need that first down. Everyone's looking at Milt. Go to Stoddard.
Yeah. That's so true. Totally forgot about Stoddard.
Speaking of, you talked about veterans that might come in at a good price. How about Jake Weineke?
Yeah.
Recently let go by the Rough Riders. Do you see him as a possibility in Winnipeg, or where do you see him maybe landing in the CFL?
Yeah, I do actually could see him in Winnipeg for sure. He only played 6 games last year due to injury. He was making a good chunk of change last year, I think about 152 or somewhere in that range. So yeah, that salary would obviously have to come back down a lot. But yeah, if he can make it work in the Bombers, I mean, he would fit in very well. Veteran guy, knows how to play obviously the game, and he'd be great with Collaros in there. So I mean, to me, that would be a great spot. You can also do Montreal, as Montreal looks, they lost Austin Mack, maybe goes back, and plays there again because they need some receivers. And I know they hit on Austin Mack last year, but he's in with the Falcons. So it'd be interesting to see if he ends up going back there or not. But yeah, the Riders were definitely not going to pay him the bonuses that he was due coming up.
No. And I understand that from the Riders' position. They didn't get what they kind of needed from him. They weren't sure exactly what direction they're going to. I think the Bombers would be a great landing spot for him. Also, the Lions. I think he could be sneaky good on the Lions. He definitely wouldn't have to be their top man. They still haven't signed Lucky Whitehead.
No, it looks like he's the odd man out, I'm thinking.
Maybe he returns home for a little bit of a discount.
Could be, because, I mean, they've already got Hollins, Keon Hatcher, and who's the other guy that I'm trying to think of, BC, that they just signed? Katoy.
Yes, thank you.
So, there's their top 3 receivers right there, probably, right? So, Lucky Whitehead becomes expendable for sure.
So we're talking about like all these veterans possibly moving, a lot of moving pieces in free agency in the CFL as always. So that means someone has to step up on the Bombers, and on the offense. We'll look at the offense this week, defense next week. Who do you see stepping up on that roster? I'm going to go with Liam Dobson. He's a first rounder into his 3rd year with the club. On an O-line that could look different, still looking at Jamarcus Hardrick, whether he's going to sign or not. Jeff Gray.
Yep. Still free agent.
Kolinkowski.
Yep.
So yeah, and also that O-line is going to be a year older, perhaps higher injury risk. Like we said this last offseason, and they did really well in regards to injury, but Mother Nature is undefeated.
Yeah.
So you never know. So I think he might have to step up this year, and I hope he does, because he's a great lineman. He has a meanness to him and just a physicality to him that would be great for this O-line, as we've seen him in the heavy set, which I love.
Yeah, for sure. That's probably one of the spots that they have to make a big decision on what they're going to do, if they bring back Gray, Kolinkowski, and Hardrick, or if they start to look at the younger guys. And to me, I'd also look at maybe Eli Tui who may have to play center and take in for Kolinkowski. So he's another guy, a young guy that may be forced to step up earlier this year than they were probably hoping to. But he filled in well when he's played here and there. So, hopefully he can. I'm also going to look at one of the wide receivers here that they had last year, Jeremy Murphy and Ravi Alston, who only played, I think, that Calgary game, and Murphy was hurt quite a bit of this last year. So maybe one of those guys, this is their time to step up and perform and fill in one of those wide receiver spots, because O'Leary Orange is also a free agent, so not sure what's going on there. So yeah, they're going to need one of these younger guys at the wide receiver position to step up and start filling some roles.
Absolutely. I hope they get O'Leary Orange back. He's a good, solid Canadian. Not as young. He must be later 20s, yes?
Yeah, I'm not totally sure at all.
27, 28.
Sounds good.
Thoughts on Princess? Well, that's young to us, obviously. Thoughts on Princess Auto Stadium, the name?
To me, it doesn't totally roll off the tongue just yet. It's not something feels smooth coming out of my mouth at all. But, Princess Auto is a Winnipeg founded company. Still tons of stores here, tons of stores in Canada, all over the place. So, hey man, if they're paying a good chunk of change to have their name on that stadium, I'm all for it. Anything that can help the Bomber bottom line. But yeah, it's different for me. It's always going to be just the stadium. Hey man, are you going to the stadium tonight? Kind of thing or whatever. So
yeah,
name doesn't matter totally.
Man, I wish they just call it Winnipeg Stadium and maybe name the field. Like, I like how they did that in Edmonton. Remember, they had the brick field at Commonwealth Stadium. Yeah, I love that. So maybe that's something that they should do. But for me, Princess Auto, much respect to them. They stepped up. They're financially supporting the Bombers. But just regards in name alone, it's a meh.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not as good as MTS in the phone booth. Global was pretty cool. Canadians just was fun because it was, but also local, but just had a different flavor to it. And you had that big maple leaf that looked good on the field, and any which way. But I got love for Princess Auto.
Yeah, it's all about the money.
Princess Auto section for a couple seasons. It was fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. As long as they're paying good money to have their name up there, that's good for the Bombers. So it's good for me.
Oh, I'm gonna be in section 112 no matter what that place is called. Trans Canada Brewing Stadium one day, maybe.
Maybe.
This is the IPA, the Arrow.
It'd be 10 years from now, right? It's a 10-year deal, so 2034. Yeah. Maybe Ray and Benny Stadium.
Might be the Ray and Benny Stadium.
Yeah. Help us out, folks.
Yeah, exactly. One penny at a time. We got 10 years to raise this money so it could be the Ray and Benny Stadium. Oh my goodness. Is there a place for Jonathan Kongbo in the CFL? And if so, where does he land?
Yeah, I think there's a place for him. Not at what the salary he was making in Hamilton last year and what he brought to the table. I was looking at it. He only ended up with 15 defensive tackles and 3 special teams tackles, and he was making 170 or close to that. Come on, man. That was close to Jackson Jeffcoat money, apparently. So, yeah, no, if he can bring down that salary quite a bit, come in and show that he can play, yeah, for sure. There's room for a guy like that. He had good seasons with the Bombers. He was a big reason that rotation on that D line won the Grey Cup, or helped the Bombers win the Grey Cup. So yeah, there's a place for him. Hey man, if you can come back to Winnipeg, I'd be happy with that. Again, another free agent guy that I'd want here. But yeah,
Winnipeg or BC. Yeah, those would be the 2 best landing spots for him. Although he already got booted out of BC, trying to go home.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening. And then he got booted, plus the comments after, right?
In regards to locker rooms, I'd say Winnipeg or Toronto. Toronto also has a pretty rock of a locker room. They also have pinball there, which might be a good influence. But Winnipeg, it's familiar. You guys have leaders like Willie Jefferson and hopefully Jackson Jeffcoat, Mike O'Shea, Richie Hall is still there, and you also have Jordan Younger. So maybe he can talk to the younger guy a little more. So I think if he wants to come back home, I wouldn't mind. But like you said, the dollars have to make sense.
I do agree with you on that sense where veteran defensive players would probably benefit him more, like Steven Montreal, right? With Sankey and Lemon there kind of thing.
Imagine.
I never thought of that until you said it, but he needs to go to some of those places that they'll set him kind of straight, show him the ropes to say, hey man, you're good, you got talent, but this is how to play the game for a long time kind of thing. So yeah, that'd be crazy though, Montreal.
And he might not even max out as a starter. Maybe he might be a great rotational guy. And then when those greatness leaves, it might just be like, well, not as good, but who knows? CFL kickoff rule. It's been a real hot topic on the X online discussion boards. What should they do? Should they stand pat? Should they go with this change of the coaches having the option of taking on the 40-yard line without that option within the 3 minutes, the last 3 minutes? Or should they go by the XFL? I think they should go with the XFL if they have to change. And if they have to change because of safety and people being injured, then absolutely do the change. And I like the XFL one where they start 5 yards off, so that eliminates most high-speed collisions, and it still at least has an opportunity for a return. Because we know the majority of coaches are going to take it at the 40-yard line. I would, almost every time.
Do you know, I tried to look it up, but I didn't really find it. The XFL stats for actually returns or good returns, like were there stuff? Were there TDs?
I never looked at the stats. That's a good idea.
Yeah, to me, if there was returns, good returns, touchdowns off of that, yeah, I'm all for that one, the XFL one as well. Because yeah, there's no high rate collisions, guys catching the ball. But if he's always getting tackled at 20 or 30, to me, it's like just whatever. Don't even bother with the kickoff anymore, right? I hate the 40-yard line thing, even on field goals, because it's like you're already so close to now scoring your own field goal. Like I would drop that back to even the 30. Because you're right. No coach is going to give up the 40-yard line to see if they can return it for a touchdown. They're going to take that option every time after touchdowns, after field goals, right? Unless they absolutely have to, or they need a touchdown and they only have they have to kick it off under the 3 minutes anyways, right? So,
or you have Gizmo.
Yeah, exactly. If you have a guy like that, you know he's scoring more often than he's getting tackled or getting past the 40. Yeah, for sure. And then if you're doing if you're playing against the Bombers last year, you're loving it because the Bombers special teams was not very good. Kind of. So yeah, I would, even on field goals, I'd love to see that drop back to even the 30, something like that. Yeah. Even 35, go halfway. So I don't know. 40 is too close.
Benny halfway CFL.
Jeez. You need a 20-yard pass and all of a sudden you're pretty much in field goal range. You know, it drives me crazy. 25 yards, I guess.
They want those points, man. They want those points.
Yeah, I'd like to look in more of the XFL thing. If there's returns and it's kind of still exciting, yeah, I'm for it. I'd love for them to stand pat, but I get why they're trying to change it. But I would miss the odd return or whatever that gets taken back for a touchdown. Like watching Janarian Grant, you lose a guy like Janarian Grant after that, right? Because really, where's his role in this league? He's not a higher end receiver. He's not good enough to really play receiver all the time. So at that point, he's probably going to just say, forget it. I'll go see if I can land in the XFL or something else. Anyways, I guess the XFL is not great because that return rule is not great either.
There was someone online, I can't remember who it was. And obviously you don't want to sacrifice people.
Yeah.
But if the CFL made their roster sizes bigger, then you wouldn't have as many starters having to play special teams.
Yeah.
Obviously, yes, there's still a risk of concussions and injuries, but just in regards to quality of play, that may be an option to make the rosters bigger.
More money to pay, right? Game day rosters.
yeah. The owners aren't going to go for that one.
No, not at all. Unless they get, you got to pay cut other players basically to make that rule. And the players are going to be like, you know what, we're good.
There might have been a player who suggested that. Getting more jobs for players. I get it. Yeah. I get it. Let's move on to some Winnipeg Jets Talk. CFL fans, Bomber fans, put your comments down below. Winnipeg Jets Talk brought to you by Fahrenheit Airbrushing. Stand out on the ice, pavement, or the field with a custom airbrushed helmet or goalie mask. A local Manitoba business with affordable solutions for any project. Check out Fahrenheit Airbrushing on Facebook or call them at 204-891-7431. Tell them Ray and Benny sent you. You should say that part. After I say that, hey, listen here, folks.
Tell them Ray and Benny
from this day on, I will say the phone, and then Benny will say,
"Tell them Ray and Benny sent you." I almost messed up my name.
Yeah, we'll practice that a few more times. But here we go. Let's talk about the week that was. Ottawa, Boston. Thoughts? Any concerns?
Yeah, it was quite the slog. Really, these two games. Yeah, I mean, we expected the Boston game to be tough, but not the Ottawa game the way it went. They ended up winning the game 2-1 in OT. Ehlers was a beauty. Another individual effort goal by him. But really, the Jets were outplayed in this game and were lucky to take anything out of this. Never mind getting the win. Helly stood on his head. kept the Jets in it, faced 35 shots, and a lot of good quality chances for giving up to Ottawa, who I guess they have the talent to score. Ottawa, they definitely do. Where they really usually get hurt is on the back end, their goaltending on all that. And really, the goals that were scored on Korpisalo weren't, the greatest shots. Even the backhander by Ehlers, it's like, he probably could have had that. But Helly just, outplayed Korpisalo enough to help the Jets get the win here.
Korpisalo did play well.
Yes. He always plays well against the Jets.
Dang.
It's crazy, man.
It was a rough week. And definitely, we'll come to this question or subject later on. The injuries are definitely taking its toll. And also, since they played the Blackhawks, they seem to have a lot of trouble getting that puck through the neutral zone. Teams somehow have figured it out. They make a bottleneck and control the neutral zone, and the Jets can't quite get it offensively going as they were, especially when you don't have your number one center. And then the next game, you add on the number one winger. So the Jets need Scheifele back. The concern is obviously the power play and the injuries. That all-star break can't come soon enough. And I think Bones gave them a couple days off during that extended period, and he's recognizing it as well. But one thing I know is about in the Ottawa game, people who are talking about Jets trades and defense, talking about Chychrun, dude didn't look too solid.
I questioned him because it's like, okay, you just got traded from Phoenix and you're supposed to go to Ottawa and now play there for whatever the next many years, and now you're already on the outs. To me, it's like, do you want a guy like that? Like, what's going on? There's something. No. He may be a decent defenseman. Who knows? Maybe in the right situation he gets better, but there's something up with the guy and why he's getting moved, and they're already getting looked to be moved after you traded. Did they trade a first from? They did, didn't they?
Yeah.
First for that. So yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it.
How'd they get Dibrincat from a first rounder as well?
Yeah, that ended up being a high pick that they ended up losing out there. So
goodbye first rounders.
Yeah.
Talking about defensemen, I like your boy from the Flyers, Sean Walker. I think he'd be a great addition. He's good on the power play too, and they definitely need the power play.
And that's the biggest thing, right? That power play. Yeah, Sean Walker would be good, but I can't see the Flyers being sellers. At this point, unless they start to fall out of the race a bit, which they've now, ever since being the Jets, I think they've lost at least 3 of their last 4 or something, or 3 in a row or whatever it is. So
they might have to get something usable back.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're trading up a defense, like if somehow they'll take Schmidt, Schmidt and Walker, because to me, Schmidt actually yesterday did not look great, especially late in that game. That third goal, I don't know what he was doing in that. And he's played well, but I think he's another guy that's maybe the fatigue is starting to set in on him, because that third goal was just some lackluster defense. And either way, the Jets did not look good against Boston, and they got dominated. And even though Helly only faced 23 shots, he allowed 3 goals, but I don't think he played terribly because he made some really wicked saves. And a couple of the goals, their defensive play yesterday reminded me of the old Jets, where guys were left all alone in front of the net to do whatever they wanted and take a couple of shots. And that's what it looked like last night. So not great. It broke that streak of 34 games of 3 goals or less with the empty netter. So Jets need a break, and it's coming up.
Those lines were a mess.
Oh, yeah.
Not just were they missing the skill of Scheifele and Velarde, but the cohesion of the team. And going back to Ottawa, I kind of wish they would have just let that third line play a shift or two together, just to see if they can bring some energy or some cohesion to the team. Again, I don't know why they don't just try it. Maybe it's because I don't know hockey. That's why I'm a fan drinking beer, talking on a microphone with my boy. But, why don't they just we know those guys are effective. Why not put them in a shift or two, a period, just to get some energy going or something? And as your captain, he's feeling confident, lead by example. I don't know. And also good on Dylan for not pounding Tkachuk in the face like he could have. He could have really laid into him. And Tkachuk with that hit, man. Son of this guy. Just saying.
That's the bros for you. Great players.
And Boston, they're an ass kicking. Montgomery, their coach, said they embarrassed us the last time we were in Winnipeg. Oh, they came hard like they wanted to win. It was crazy. Swayman, we don't like losing twice to a team. Like, they weren't going to lose this game, especially with the Jets pretty much flying with one wing. Ugh.
Yeah, and they looked pretty pumped after that game was over that they won that game. Swayman even went for a goal there yesterday, but his own player kind of got in the way of it. But Yeah, they were pumped. Like Swayman looked pumped after beating them. And yeah, why not? Jets have been the talk of the town, how they're so good, top of the league and all that stuff. And Boston just said, hey, we're still here too. So
Yeah,
it'll be a good battle if those two get to play again. It's not like a final.
we'll see. We'll see. And again, last week we talked about face-offs, and we talked about watching our friend number 7 0 for 5 in the face-off circle, Nemesnikov. No hate. Hey, he put a goal in and he looked pretty good on the ice with the puck, but in the face-off circle, him and the team still again not very good.
So change your mind on that second center or no?
No.
They need it.
Wait for Shifley and Velarde to come back. Like, of course, it looks like they need it now. Their
But
two best
they need a
players on
guy that
offense, arguably, were out, and also Connor's been. That's why we can't be too critical on the power play either. Like, how many of
all
those
we
number
can.
one power play shifts have they had together this year?
Not a lot, but you at least had Shifley and Connor or Shifley and Velarde together with then you throw in Ehlers, at some point there. So
Yeah.
yes, lately it's been you can look at that and go, okay, well, we'll cut them a little bit of slack, but earlier in the year they still weren't getting it done. But yeah, I'm excited to see those three guys finally play together and see what they can do because yeah, it's been non-existent so far.
And of course, like we talked about early in the year, the style of play makes the team vulnerable, perhaps physically, for wear and tear to really wear whatever on them. You know what I'm saying? And maybe we're
Yeah.
seeing a bit of this. There are little strain injuries, perhaps a groin injury on a non-contact. So, or
It's
was it
a
a contact? It was a contact. Sorry. It was contact.
it's a hard system, right? You're giving her all game long, 60 minutes. And at some point, yeah, it'll take its toll. And hopefully the Jets are better prepared for that this year than they were last year, where things started to fall apart and unravel for them. But
Yeah.
it'll be an interesting stretch after the All-Star break to see where they're at and how they play because they got some tougher games coming up in the next little bit. So it'll be good to see them get back track, get healthy, and have their guys.
Prime performer of the week before we go into next week and their 2 matchups against the Leafs.
I got to give it to Helly. He was the glue that kept them together kind of in Ottawa and kept that game for a chance to win it. Even yesterday, again, not the greatest save percentage that he ended up with, but he made some great saves, keeping that game 2-1 for as long as possible. And the Jets really showed up only really in that third period yesterday. They were just kind of hanging around in their own end quite a bit. But so I got to give it to Connor Hellebuck.
He played well, always solid. We'll talk about him in a second. But did I give it to Ehlers last week?
I don't think so.
I'm going to give it to Ehlers this week then. I might have given it. It might be 2 weeks in a row. He scored that game winner against Ottawa, took that puck from the blue line, put that backhand over the shoulder. And the Bruins, he was moving the puck early well. He caused 2 penalties early. He got the cross check and then he got the slash later on. The Jets obviously couldn't capitalize. And then he had the helper on the Mesnikov goal later on. He stepped up his game while Shifley was missing. So he's going to be my prime performer of the week. Friends, put your prime performer of the week in the comments below. Let's look at the week ahead. Same team, different nights. Leafs on Wednesday, Leafs on Saturday with the big Hockey Night in Canada matchup. Thoughts on the game? What did the Jets need to do to win? Who's going to step up?
Yeah, the Leafs are struggling lately. Only 5-4-1 in their last 10 games. And I was just looking at the standings. Like they're sitting third right now in the Atlantic. But these 2 games are big for them because if losing them and other teams winning, they could find themselves just in the wild card spot or even out of the playoff spot, depending on what some other teams do. So that was crazy, actually. And they're 13 points behind Boston right now. So you're still seeing the difference in play between these 2 teams. Yeah. Toronto's all about offense. We know they can score. They got the guys that can do it. Struggling on the back end, especially in goal, really. Where Ilya Samsonov has not been very good. Martin Jones' shine is off him already, right? Because he hasn't played very good games lately. And Joseph Wall is hurt. So yeah, they are struggling in that department. They just lost to the Canucks. They've blown a lot of leads in games. But yeah, the Jets will just have to look out for their goal scoring and their power play. And I know the Jets penalty kill has been better lately. I think they've given up 1 goal in the last 9 games. So that's great to see, but a lot of firepower there for Toronto. So the Jets have to stay out of the penalty box.
Absolutely. For me, it really depends on who's playing. If the Jets have Shifley and Velarde and they're healthy, it's not just playing roles or anything like that. They are healthy. The depth will be too strong. and they will grind them out in both games. But without them, they'll be in tough, especially with the power play playing the way it is, because their 5-on-5 is suffering. And when they can't put those in, when they have the man advantage, they are, well, like we saw against a good team like Boston, they are in trouble. But Boston, like you said, 13 points ahead, are far more superior than the Leafs. Brossois is getting the nod in the first game, and his game is coming together. But if they can't slow down Austin Matthews with Scheifele and Velarde missing, he's starting to warm up, and it could be a long night for the Jets and the Brossois in net. So I want Scheifele and Velarde there for at least Hockey Night in Canada, so we can really burn them on TV.
Yeah.
So you know what? Healthy, Jets sweep. Healthy on Saturday, Jets win. No Scheifele, no Velarde. They will get swept.
It'll be interesting to see, because just the last time the Jets played an really offensive team, the Oilers kind of pushed them around and dominated them. Not pushed them around, but dominated in the zone and the cycle and all that stuff. And Toronto can definitely do that with their guys. And like you say, the Jets have struggled to score 5-on-5, or sorry, on the penalty kill, or sorry, good God, on the power play, and also 5-on-5, 9 goals in their last 5 games only. So yeah, they need to, hopefully the lack of good goaltending on Toronto, and Toronto's penalty kill isn't very good so far this season too, will actually open some of the gates for the Jets. But yeah, if they got Scheifele, Velarde, definitely Jets are taking these games. Without them, Toronto's got a good chance.
So do you think the Jets are relying too much on Hellebuyck?
Yes and no. They're kind of back that way where he has to play, especially that they lacked scoring, right? In the last 5 games. Like I said, 9 goals since that Columbus game. So yes, they're relying on him that way, and the power play not chipping in. So that's definitely hurting them. But like we said, the injuries are also a factor. Losing Scheifele has not helped. It seems to have hurt them way more than losing Connor, because at least with Connor, they were still or with Connor out, they were still scoring, they were still winning. And with Scheifele out, yes, they've won a couple games, but it's been tough, and they have to bear down and kind of win those games. So yeah, they can't rely, because a lot of people complain about playoff Helly versus regular season Helly, right? So if we start to kill Helly in these games where he's tired and heading into the playoffs, that's definitely going to hurt the Jets when it counts. So we need to get back to that sound defensive game that we were playing before and start chipping in some goals.
Like Helly just had an interview. I'm not sure if it was Sarah Orlesky commenting on his season and having, on par or better numbers than his Vezina season. And he's really giving a lot of props to the team in front of him. And she says, oh, humble goalie. But I think that's also very true. And I think that's why we're seeing a little dip right now, is that the whole team's not there. They're not playing the system that leaves a lot more of those high chance or high danger scoring chances than usual. So I don't think they're relying on him now with those injuries. But I think fundamentally they're playing such good hockey that they're not relying on him, but they know that they have a wall behind him, because it's a little different Helly than it was when he played Vezina. In Vezina, he was like all over the place, bang, bang, making crazy saves. This time he's like in position, just stopping everything. It's like, it's just a different Helly. Calm, chill, and always in the right place at the right time, not having to be making those crazy saves where he's going from post to post because the defense is not there and the team's left him hanging. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, they left him hanging on that first Boston goal last night. They left him hanging. He needed to fly across the net to be able to save that one. He's he's in the zone. He's confident. And he's seeing that puck so well right now. And he's playing lights out, and hopefully he can keep it going. But like you said, Brossois is playing against Toronto tomorrow night, and he's had a great season. They'll need him to step it up so that Helly can get regular breaks here and there and not have to play every game. And the Jets don't rely on him. Hey, we need to play Helly because we need to win tonight because we're slipping out of a playoff spot or anything like that. So good to see. We'll see once the injuries and the play comes back after the All-Star break, where they go from there. But yeah, right now they are relying on him. I agree on that one. But hopefully later on they get back to where they were.
And you know what? Like we shouted out Rick Bowness last show. And it's not to criticize coaching, but man, that defense can't be playing 2 minutes. Those offensive lines can't be playing 145, and that's hurting it too in front of Hellebuyck lately. And they've been just looking tired because of those weird, awkward, long shifts. And also the other team's playing well. Don't get me wrong, but still.
Maybe we need to throw in a Chisholm or a Stanley at some point for some of those guys, especially when you're playing so many games that close. Like we said, Schmidt wasn't the greatest last night. Maybe he needed a break sooner than later kind of thing. And a night off would have been good, even though they had those 4 days off between the Islanders and the Ottawa game. it still didn't seem to help enough because they look very tired in both of these games. So
Yeah, other than some dude named Johnny on a Facebook thread, I think you're the first person who said it might be time for Stanley.
I just
Very interesting.
not. I'm just Handel is not there. I would give it to Chisholm first, but I would even Stanley at some point just to give these guys a bit of a break.
I get you. I'm teasing. I kind of do want to see him. I do want to see him get his opportunities to see if there's a maturation there. Like if he's getting in his head that, hey, they're not playing me because I'm not playing well. I don't know, like, and maybe I'm not one to tell this dude he's not playing well, but you know what I mean? From the eye test, from the fans outside in, it just looks that way. So I don't know, man.
And
I'd love to see him play well, man. I don't want people to be knocking on this dude.
No, he was a first round pick. They traded up for him. You definitely want to see him do well. But yeah, they haven't, both Stanley and Chisholm. When was the last time they played? As soon as his streak started getting crazy of 3 goals and under, they haven't played in a long time. So they're just sitting there doing nothing. And some of these other guys are getting tired. So yeah, usually I know one of them played when they played 11-7 on this stretch, didn't they, at some point? It's probably Stanley, I guess. A couple games ago, maybe, or a few games ago. But yeah.
If he didn't want to be traded before, who knows?
Who's going to trade for him?
Huh?
Who's trading for him? I'm sure there's teams offering maybe a 7th rounder, but at that point, you might as well just keep him.
The Jets must have been hoping that guy was going to be turning into Tyler Myers.
Zdeno Chara. Yeah. I would take Tyler Myers. Hey?
The Jets must have been hoping in.
Oh, yes. Big time.
Let's go into the quick shots. AFC NFC Championship predictions. Jets fans, put your comments below. Where are the Jets heading? How are they looking to the All-Star break? How do you think they'll do against the Leafs? I still got my Leafs jersey in the closet.
Yeah, don't put that thing back on again.
Oh, no. Not at the game, at least.
No,
I wear it at home sometimes.
Yeah, you should burn that thing.
I don't burn jerseys. I'm not a fool.
Give it away.
Wow, these Bills fans losing their minds. Holy cow. And leave that kicker alone. What is wrong with these people? He had to shut down his social media because people were giving him death threats?
You know what, though? I saw today a lot of Bills fans have actually been donating to his charity as well. So there are some good fans there as well. And the ones that are probably doing the death threats are the guys that gambled, or people that gambled on the game and lost out because he missed it. It's not probably actually fans of Buffalo. I'm sure some of them are as well, but it's the gamblers for sure that are getting at this guy.
Yeah, you can't make your mortgage payment. Now you're screwed. And hey,
blame that guy.
That's a shame.
Yeah, maybe don't bet that much on a game, really.
Clown
all in good fun. All in good fun.
I do feel bad for the crying Bills fans, though.
So do I, man. And yeah, I won't just blame Bass on that, because that whole last drive, Diggs dropped a great ball. Josh Allen then did not take a check down to Diggs later on, went for the end zone, didn't get it. So a lot of mistakes there. The punt, or the fake punt, which luckily Kansas City didn't score on. A lot of mistakes by the Bills, and I think they blew that one.
Well, who's the offensive coordinator that everyone was giving love to?
Joe Barry, I think he is his name, took over for Dorsey.
Why didn't they keep running the ball?
That too. Well, you know what? The last few runs that he did lose some yardage on that, but yeah.
Stick to it. There's lots of time.
The defense for the most part could not stop. How are you leaving Travis Kelce that wide open on plays, man? They have 2 guys. Yeah, Pacheco's had a great season. They have Rashee Rice and Kelce. Really. Focus on Kelce.
Wow.
Especially inside the 20, for Pete's sake.
Taylor Swift, a lot of TV time.
And let's Jason Kelce.
AFC, NFC Championship predictions. Who do you got? Let's start with the AFC.
I'm going to go with Baltimore. At least I'm hoping Baltimore will win. Someone different in there, see what Lamar can do in the Super Bowl. But Baltimore has been playing very well, and their D has been playing pretty good as well. They shut down Stroud pretty good on Sunday, so I'm going Baltimore.
I'm also taking Baltimore. NFC Championship. If Debo plays, and he's not a decoy, if he effectively plays, 49ers win.
Yeah.
If he doesn't play, I'm going to take the Lions. Those are 2 good defenses that are this close in regards to stat-wise. And I think Debo is one of those players that can make the difference. So I'm not even going to say who. If he plays, San Fran. If he doesn't play, I'm going to get the Lions going to Super Bowl.
Yeah, you know what? Both of these offenses, if you have Debo in there, both of these offenses could go off. And it could be a high scoring affair, even though they both got, I mean, I would take San Francisco's D over Detroit's, but even that Detroit offense, what we saw, the running game for Green Bay was running all over San Francisco. They hadn't given up a 100-yard rusher in how long? And Detroit's got two good players in Montgomery and Jahari Gibbs. So they can definitely take it to them, and they got some good wide receivers there. I'm going to take the Niners. Obviously, I'm a Niner fan, so I'm going to take the Niners and see it. But it should be a good game, and I think it'll be a very close game. I don't think either team's getting blown out or anything like that.
Is Jameer Gibbs going to be Rookie of the Year?
I don't know. I think Stroud.
NFC?
Do they do?
Yeah, they do NFC, AFC.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I can't think of anyone else off the top of my head. He had good games, and he didn't. And some games where he didn't do anything because he wasn't featured enough, right?
True.
So all over the place. But yeah, he looked good on that run on Sunday.
Corey Perry to Edmonton. Good signing or bad signing? I think it's good. Edmonton has a strong locker room. Obviously, they've been through multiple coaches. They brought in Evander Kane. They survived a few of his blips. And they're like the Patriots in the fact that, they bring in guys like Garrett Blunt and Randy Moss and Ocho Cinco. They don't care. And they're probably, I think it's fine. They'll be fine. And probably a good addition, a veteran.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Can Kane and Perry get along? We don't know what Perry did or what happened with Perry in getting released by Chicago, but I'm fine with the signing, and I think it's good for Edmonton. We see what Corey Perry can do. He's a pest, and really that's what he's going there to do. And in the playoffs, you need that type of guy that can play that kind of role. So, it's a no-brainer kind of move for Edmonton, unless Corey Perry did do something terrible to get kicked out of Chicago. Then I'd be like, what the heck are you guys doing? But yeah, good move so far. We'll see what happens.
Best versus best. Professional players, NHL. What country are you taking? Canada or the US? Name the country first before you name the players.
Slight edge, I'm taking the US in this one. And mainly because of the goaltending.
I'm taking the US as well.
Yeah, looking at it, I like the Canadian forwards. I mean, if someone had something on Reddit of posted possible lineups kind of thing, and I like McDavid and all those guys. To me, that's a slight edge. And I know US has Matthews, but I do like looking at the defense. I think I like the USA defense better. And then the goaltending just throws it away, man. Helly, Demko, and Ottinger versus maybe Aiden Hill, Binnington, and Talbot, Fleury. Like, who else?
Yari.
Hey,
Hart. Yeah. Carter Hart. Your boy Carter Hart.
Yeah, well, there's something. Carter Hart just left the Flyers for personal reasons, so who knows what's going on there. But yeah, I don't know. He's also up and down. I wouldn't trust him to go out and win one of these tournaments yet. Not over Helly, Demko, or Ottinger.
Yeah, I'm taking the US tough as well. Even though McDavid probably wins at center over Matthews. Yeah. But I like those wingers. Like, of course, I'm biased with Kyle Connor. And maybe who else do they have? Kachuk or Hughes? Marchand is getting a little old, so I'll take those young guys there. And
they got both Kachuk brothers.
Quinn Hughes. Let me say my team now. It's my turn. Because Quinn Hughes is having such a good year in Vancouver. Man, I'm going to take him and Adam Fox with, like you said, that defense has that edge. And goalies, Hellebuck. I'm biased again. And Ottinger, like you said. So, shoot. Dang, man.
Yeah. It'll be a tough one for sure. It'll be a very close match. It'll be fun to watch, though. Holy crap.
Pietrangelo on defense? Morrissey?
Yeah, Pietrangelo, Morrissey, Shea Theodore. I mean, it's good, obviously, very good. But Makar, yeah, big difference maker. Huge. But then you got Morgan Riley and Aaron Ekblad, so it's like a kind of thing. Drew Doughty, does he still have it? Obviously, he's still good, but yeah, that American one just looks good.
I'm gonna go with American, and like you said, primary reason goalie and our boy Connor Hellebuck.
I like the depth better of Canada's forwards for sure. Like getting down into the third and fourth lines kind of thing, but man, that would be fun to watch. They need to do a 7-game series.
Yeah, never mind this whole whatever World Cup, Canada Cup, whatever iteration they have. Just do 1-2.
Yeah.
7-game series. Is Sheldon Keefe going to last a season in Toronto?
Ooh, not if things keep going the same way. And I think if you lose both these games against the Jets, I think he's in trouble. Toronto's going to start looking at, okay, Edmonton fired their coach. Look what they did. Look what they're doing, right? The Islanders are like close to a playoff spot, and they're like, we're done. We're gonna bring in a new coach. So I think there'll be a lot of questions over their All-Star break if they go out losing these 2 games for sure.
I think he's going to last this season, mostly because I have no confidence in Trevling or Shanahan to know what they are doing. Like, I'm not saying they're clueless in hockey matters, but it just doesn't seem like they have a coherent front office who has the same objective for some reason. Someone's doing something else. It doesn't seem like a cohesive front office. They're clearly not in shape right now for a playoff push. And look at Trevling. The guy doesn't make any moves anyways. He sits on his hands. A year and a half ago, I was saying Chevalier sits on his hands. Never mind. This guy sits on his hands.
I mean, he just signed Nylander.
Oh, goodness gracious.
What can he do, really? I mean, he keeps shoving guys on the LITR or LTIR, whatever it is, to get some more room. Like Ryan Reeves is on there right now. Is the guy actually hurt? Muzzin's been on there. I guess he is hurt. So it's just, they're just looking for the next guy they can probably shove on there so they can go get somebody.
Ryan Reeves is going to kick his ass. He is not happy being on the LTIR, is he?
I don't know, man. But hey, he's still getting paid. He's making his 1 point whatever. Why wouldn't he be happy? He's got 2 more years of that.
I think he had a quote recently. He has no idea why. He's just whatever. I don't know.
Did he actually say that? I totally missed that. Did he actually say that?
I wish I would have written down he's not totally happy. He's not totally buying into why he's been healthy scratch for so long.
And why isn't he on the LTIR as well?
Well,
like how? It's just like, that thing drives me crazy. And already now Jack Eichel's on there for Vegas. Like they're already starting ramping it up for the playoffs kind of thing.
Exactly. This is and you know what? Bettman's not going to do anything about it.
No, not at all.
Tampa Bay's won multiple championships because of it.
Yeah.
Vegas is probably, because of Eichel last year. That's
Stone.
Come on.
Mark Stone last year.
Stone, thank you. That's right. That's so.
No,
it's made his crazy, favorite teams really successful. Patrick Waugh takes over for the Islanders. Thoughts? Good move. I love this guy. I'm already looking forward to his pressers. They might not win, but whatever he says, I'm going to be on the YouTubes looking for Patrick Waugh quotes every night.
Yeah, I mean, they won the first game with him. I think they were losing tonight to, speaking of Vegas, 3-2, they lost to Vegas tonight. So, but yeah, the guy's he's 40 plus wins, better than losses kind of thing. He's coaching Colorado, won coach of the year back then too, and very good junior career, all that kind of stuff. Stanley Cup champion, man. Maybe he's enough to bring them over that hump and get them into the playoff spot. So I like the move. The funny thing is Lane Lambert obviously didn't last very long, and he was a guy that I was hoping the Jets would end up going for back then. Maybe he didn't get enough chance with the Islanders and Lou Lamoriello, but yeah, I like Patrick Waugh being back. He was on my list for sure. Yeah, he was on a lot of lists. So
goodness, do you think it's time for Lou to go?
Probably pretty close, man. Pretty close. Even his last few moves that he's made, I know they got Bo Horvat, right? So, and then they had to sign him to a huge contract. The Islanders have some good players. They have a decent team, but maybe this will make it. But yeah, how old is Lou? 80?
He's up there, man.
Seems like he's been around forever. Oh my God.
Who was he with before New Jersey, like back in the day?
Toronto. He was with for a bit, right?
He's been around.
Oh, yeah.
Any which way. Benny, you got anything to say to our friends?
You know what? Just thanks a lot for listening. Don't forget, subscribe, follow, leave us a comment, leave us a like, and have a good week.
In the words of LeVar Burton, in the meantime, no. In the words of LeVar Burton, we'll see you next time. Jeez, less beer. Hey, friends and neighbors, don't forget to check us out online on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Ray Denny Sports. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. Leave a like, leave a comment, tell us what you think.